And welcome back to, this is game 4, believe it or not, of Skate Around 3 in Namur, Belgium, hosted by the fabulous Namur Roller Girls. So it's a 6-game round-robin tournament. This is game 4, is Namur Roller Girls up against Leeds Roller Derby. Two teams met each other back in June at Paris is Burning 2, where Namur took the win by about 80 points. So a lot to play for today. I'm Dork Mistress.
And I'm Toxic Lady.
Toxic, would you like to kick off with the roster for Namur?
Yeah, for Namur. Sure, I will do any team you like. So we have number 03 Knappy, number 12 Brûle-la-Gomme, number 13 O'Gara, 1957 Pad Smash. Oh, is she playing? I can't remember. Yeah. I think is she playing? Number 31 T-Rex Elliott. Sorry. 382 Rust in Pieces. 39K. 393 Grumpin' Up. Number 4 Big Gaze. 4040 Blue Velvet. 66 Los Angeles. 666 Left 4 Dead. 89 Pup Eviction. 9 Jackie. 934 Tinker.
And for Leeds, we have number 10, Eat My Glitter, 111 Grief Lightning, 11116 Acid Pain, 13 Flamboyant Potato, 16 Tripping the Velvet, 21 Jenga, 2323 Dreadlocks, 26 Kerosene, 41 Polykiller, 500 Grace Ventura, 81K Hizzle, 97 Lana Deslay, and 98 Quick and Block Her Glory. So both teams have already played today. Namur took the win against the Royal Swedish Army this morning, and Leeds unfortunately losing to Nantes in the second game of today. So in the round robin format, today's result is going to be important, not just who wins and loses, but also the points differential. So if Namur win, they're going to go into tomorrow with 2 wins out of 3. But Leeds will be looking to put 1 win on their tally. We're underway, and that is B-Gaze on the jam line for Namur.
And Jenga jamming for Leeds, and Jenga is the first to get out of the pack, followed by Big Gaze.
So Jenga getting that first lead jammer status and asking for offense from her blockers, gets the 4 points and calls the jam. We saw this in the game against Nantes this morning, Leeds coming out and getting that first couple of lead jams, because it's an important statement. It's all about that psychology of, hey, we're in control of this game right from the get-go.
Yes, and I think that Namur is not going to let that happen without a fight, because they're on their turf.
Yep.
They know this place, that's their tournament, and it's a very good team. So we'll see what's going to happen. Behind the Gemini, we have Bad Smash jamming for Namur.
Up against Grief Lightning for Leeds. And it's the inside line for...
I can see some forearms action going on, or close to forearms.
Well, that is what I've made up a term of a scrum pack, where everything's really...
scrum pack?
Yeah, from rugby. But it is Bat Smash who breaks out lead jammer for Namur. So as you said, not taking it lightly, that Leeds had the first one. And it is Grief Lightning still stuck in the pack at turn 2. And that's incredibly solid defense from Namur. And just fluid, able to chase down Grief Lightning and hold her back, while Bat Smash has made it through for first scoring points. First scoring pass even.
Yes, they have. And one blocker from Namur is sitting in the penalty box. And the jam is being called for... Oh, yeah, Namur, she had the opportunity to make 1 more point for her second scoring pass, which is 5 for Namur and 4 for Leeds. Oh, so exciting. It was close numbers.
It was great timing there by Bat Smash, getting even just that 1 extra point and then actually calling it off. So we have Dreadblocks on the line for Leeds, up against number 12. How could I not recognise Brûle-la-Gomme?
You can also recognize her helmet. You know, it's very easy when you have players who have the helmet with how do you call this?
Visor.
The visor. Yeah. So usually you can recognize them for afar. And Brûle-la-Gomme took the lead, while the British, can we say British for Leeds?
Yes.
British jammer is being recycled at the end of the pack, and she took off her cover.
Yep. So it is a star stash for Dreadblocks trying to make it through the pack. But Brulagom also having difficulty on this scoring pass, and that's a solid wall up front. Brulagom getting some offense from Namur, but still not able to break up Leeds. And we're on the apex between turns 1 and 2. But we have a star pass, and it is Leeds who have passed the star and have managed to exit the pack. So that's number 16, tripping the velvet. Now the jammer for Leeds. But this has been a very tough physical jam. Just solid defense, not able to move. The jammer's not able to break up the walls. Offense not working. That was just solid.
The offense were not working. It was just adding one more person to the wall against the jammer. So that's interesting. And only 4 points scored. I can't remember how long this jam lasted. Did it jam 2 minutes?
It felt like 2 minutes.
It felt like it.
And you're absolutely right. So we are, 3 jams in. We're 5 minutes into this game, and there's only 13 points on the clock. But trying to change that is B-Gaze for Namur. Lead jammer. Jenga stuck not even past the pivot line yet, but gets the no pass, no penalty on that hit to the outside. But that looked easy for B-Gaze.
Looking is just sliding through the pack for her first scoring pass.
And we're just seeing masterclasses in defense from both teams. This is just 2 Namur blockers up front, holding back Jenga. Oh, but Jenga able to bend the laws of gravity, have most of her body over the track line, but still stay in bounds to get through and complete her initial pass, forcing the call off. So that is, oh, I really should have brought my other glasses with me. That is 7 points, 8 points, 7 points for Namur.
7, yeah.
Yep. Taking them to 16 points. 4 points still for Leeds, and we have 24 and a bit minutes left in this half.
Yeah, this game is, I think it's very exciting, seeing all these small points being scored, and how fast all these blockers are. I think it's very strong. It's a group of very strong blockers, but also very fast.
Yes.
So that's always very interesting and very impressive to see.
And you can see that with how quickly they're able to reform walls ahead of jammers.
Yeah.
It's been noticeable already, but it is Grief Lightning for Leeds who picks up lead jammer. That's not at all confusing.
After 30 seconds of the jump, so it's always interesting. The pack has gone over, not even gone over the first corner, and we have a successful star pass in the Namur
to
part.
Tinker. So Tinker forcing that call off by approaching the pack. And so it was no points for Namur, and we're just looking to the jam ref who's consulting, and it is
3 points.
3 points for Leeds. So closing that gap down, it is still only a 9-point gap, and we are 7 minutes into this game, and we only have 23 points on the board. And that just shows how tight the defense has been from both teams and how they've been able to lock down each other's jammers.
Yeah, Brulagom jamming for Namur against Dreadblocks jamming for Leeds. With the no pack being called, and the pack stretching it a bit on the track, and Brulagom takes the lead shortly after the pivot line.
Oh,
while the Leeds jammer, not the lead jammer, the Leeds jammer. It's terrible.
But that was incredible agility and footwork from Dreadblocks to stay in bounds and brush off those hits.
Yes.
But meanwhile, Brulagom making the best of this mini pack, just 2 blockers from each team on the track to skate through, picking up scoring passes. Leeds working hard with just the 2 of them, Brulagom able to push through. And that is a completed scoring pass for both teams now. So 8 for Namur in this jam and 4 for Leeds. Both jammers approaching the pack. And it is Namur who have lead. But Dreadblocks has now established a gap Brulligom is held up in the pack.
And she hasn't called it. She hasn't.
No, and then, you know, looking to her bench, but they're not looking to call this. They're playing this jam long. So Dreadblocks has now caught up with Brulligom in terms of scoring passes, but now both facing difficulty in the pack. But Namur only have one blocker left on track.
Yeah, it's been quite a nice waltz and dance of blockers back to and from the penalty box. I think that, okay, there's 3 of them left. I think that there's so many nice jammer on jammer action. But I think that there's at least 10 penalties that have been whistled just for these jams. So during the first games of the day, we've seen very clean, very nice games. No, not so many penalties. We're not even 10 minutes in, and on one jam, there's like 10 penalties have been whistled.
But it is Dreadblocks who makes it out on that scoring pass, and it is Leeds that took that jam. 16 points to Leeds, 14 points to Namur. So that risk did not pay off for Namur in that jam. And as you said, they picked up a lot of penalties. That is going to possibly have implications later in the game as people get more tired and the numbers start getting higher.
Yeah.
But it's also really important because we saw we're in a team timeout called by Namur. What we saw in the Leeds Nantes game that was really important was that Nantes could do offense and defense at the same time with their pack. But Leeds had very strong defense, but they couldn't do the offense as well. And so if the Leeds jammer or some of the Leeds blockers were in the bin, it meant that they could not get their jammers through. And so this could, you know, this is going to really start playing out if we keep seeing high levels of penalties.
It will. Both teams are have almost a full house. 15 players on the bench for Namur, 13 for Leeds. So it's a bit. As a player, I always feel like if you're playing one jam, one every 3 jam, you also lose a bit of the groove. You know, you're rested, but you can get cold. It's not that easy, so it's always difficult to find a balance between exhausted players or players that are a bit too cold and not in the groove of the game. We'll see what happens here because. This last jam, I don't think I've seen in a long time that many penalties whistled on the jam. I'm still on that, sorry.
I was going to say,
just stuck with it.
You haven't watched an MRDA game recently, then?
No, I haven't. it's just no, everybody knows.
Cue enraged Twitter feed. So we're back underway. It's B Gaze for Namur up against Jenga for Leeds, and it's Jenga who picks up a cut penalty. So this is now a power jam to Namur, and a really important chance for Namur to put some passes on. But the Leeds defense
is strong.
Yeah, and it's able to brush off the offense. Namur were trying to break that wall up, and they're trying to do it again now, but they're not able to. And then there's a big trip for Big A's. But that is a penalty for one of the Leeds blockers, so it's 3 blockers up front.
But the blocker is out, but nobody whistled. Oh, yes, somebody. She's not sure.
So the offense went in there, but they weren't able to get B Gaze out. It ended up being a multiplayer block penalty for number 13, Flamboyant Potato. That freed up B Gaze, but that's a penalty kill. So they've only completed their initial pass in that 30 seconds. So Jenga back on track in the pack, and that was just a sprawl of blocking.
But the Namur blockers do not want to let her through. No. The pack keeps going further, and you know they're still reforming in front of her if they can.
But again, we're in a position where there's just 2 blockers from each team on track. 3 now for Leeds. Mini pack. And it just reduces your options and the time that you can hold jammers back. But it is now Namur with 2 blockers in the box. Leeds with a full pack on track.
Which allows Jenga to get through quite easily. I think that's her first scoring pass, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, both teams, jammers now scoring, both on their second scoring pass.
Very nice, very nice. I'm just mesmerized. I don't know what to say. I'm mesmerized by these girls. I think it's very interesting what's going on in front of us. Yeah. Very exciting. Not so many points scored from now. We have 38 for Namur, who is leading on Leeds, 27 points.
And we've got 18.5 minutes left in this half. On the jam line, we have Grief Lightning for Leeds.
And Bat Smash for Namur. Bat Smash, who wasn't playing on her first Namur game. We were a bit surprised with that. Oh, Nickbox was asking where she was.
Because Bat Smash is a high rotation jammer for Namur. But we're very glad to see her on track, pushing out up front. Just 2 Leeds blockers in the way, who do a fantastic job, but can't hold back Bat Smash. Lead jammer for Namur.
It was also a very long, nice pack with really players gaining in place every 3 meters.
Yeah.
I always love when the pack is trenching out almost at the half of the track. It's taking so much space. And we have Bat Smash making through her first scoring point. And the second one immediately going on the outside. While we have a blocker from Leeds back on the track.
And it's a direction penalty for Namur blocker 382, rust in pieces. But she is alone in the penalty box. And that doesn't stop Bat Smash completing for lead jammer. Oh no, sorry, completing a scoring pass. I misread the hand signal there. It's points, not an L.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, this has been the highest scoring jam so far in this game. Bat Smash on her 4th scoring pass. But Grief Lightning having trouble, but is let through to an extent by Namur at that point, and is only completing her initial pass. So this has been huge for Namur to try and open up that lead, because it's picking up 15 points in that last jam, taking Namur to 53, Leeds to 27. 16 minutes 20 left in this half.
And we have Dreadblocks and Brulagum getting ready behind the jammer line for already, is that the 8th jam? I can't see very well.
Yes, it is. We've had quite a number of long jams. I think that's why it feels like it's been more than it is.
It does, and a long jam is always a sign that both teams are really equal, and it's difficult for one to really take the power of the other. And we have the pack stretching in and out very closely to the jammers inside. Nobody is out of the pack yet. Walls are reforming in front of the jammers.
So both jammers having difficulty. We're now on the apex between turns 1 and 2. Dreadblocks pushing out front, Brulagum pushing it at the back. But it's Dreadblocks who has just 2 Namur ahead and pushes them out of play. So it is now lead jammer 2 Leeds, but also picking up a blocker penalty. So Namur have the pack advantage. Just as Dreadblocks goes for a scoring pass, Brulagum still on her initial, still on that apex between turn 1 and 2. And that is just fantastic 3-walling from Leeds. And we saw this in the early game, absolutely closing down when they're able to stay as a 3-wall. But Brulagum hears me talk about it, so obviously gets through and is out.
With a little stash action to be able to get through. And seeing that, Dreadblocks, seeing her, she just calls it, preventing Namur from scoring any points for this jam. Lots of blocking action, lots of hits, and 5 points scored by Leeds, none by Namur.
So that's still keeping the lead to just 21 points between the 2 teams. We have Jenga on the jam line for Leeds up against
Big A's for Namur.
And that almost looked like a running start from the back. Lots of movement, and we've seen this, the fluidity of the blocking, the ability to swirl around offense or reform in front of jammers has been really impressive in this game so far. But that doesn't hold back Jenga, lead jammer for Leeds. I think that's the second jam in a row that Jenga has achieved lead jammer status.
While Bat Smash is, Big A, sorry, is being recycled at the end of the pack. Ooh, and Jenga is through for her first scoring pass very nicely. I think she found her groove. She found how to get through the very strong Namur walls, which usually are, I think the blockers are very good on their own, but also as a group. They're able to block one jammer just on their own. So but yeah, she's very fast. The Leeds jammer is very fast, and we have. Do we have a power?
We have a star pass to Tinker for Namur, who is now approaching for a scoring pass. But Jenga, deciding to play the jam long, reckons that she can get through quicker, and proves that by completing that scoring pass while Tinker is still in the pack. So opening that gap up, adding the extra laps. This is another high-scoring jam, but this time for Leeds, it's the biggest scoring jam that they've had.
And it's not over yet.
Oh no, there's another 4 points. On her toe stops, on that outside edge. But we have Tinker out of the pack, completing her initial pass. Jenga able to push through that Namur wall.
What's going on with the Namur walls? Where are the Namur walls? She's just sliding through, and it is a 20 points jam for Leeds, who are just tackling behind Namur with 52 for Leeds and 53 for Namur. Very exciting last jam.
That is exciting. So 12 minutes left in this half, but oh wow, and at the end of that jam, Namur were not together. They weren't looking where the jammer was.
And it's very unusual. I think they're tired. Let's say they're tired. Namur, you are tired. Get yourself together.
So on the jam line, we have Eat My Glitter for Leeds. First time we've seen Eat My Glitter jam all tournament. Up against Bat Smash for Namur.
And Eat My Glitter is taking the lead jammer status just after in the corner of the track, while Bat Smash is getting through after a little stash. Yes.
But Eat My Glitter makes it through, hits it and quits it. 4 points for Leeds. We have a lead change.
Yes, and they are really decided not to give Namur any opportunity to score some points as well. She just did the lap and just tap on her hips. 4 points, well scored, well done.
So it's 53 to Namur, 56 to Leeds, 10 minutes, 53 seconds in this half. This is not the game I expected, but I'm glad this is the game we've got.
It's very exciting indeed.
So on the jam line, we have Brulegom for Namur up against Dreadblocks for Leeds. Both jammers hit out and recycled. And we've only just passed the jam line. Brulegom pushing out up front, Dreadblocks having to push at the rear. And is recycled all the way back to turn 4 as Brulegom makes it out. Lead jammer for Namur. Oh, this is very exciting.
This is exciting. I'm lost for words. I'm just mesmerized by what's going on. It's very exciting indeed. With the pivot from Leeds going back on the track, we have a full crew on both teams on the track, and nobody wants to let go. Leeds is very happy to have taken the lead. Namur doesn't want to be beaten on their turf, and so Brulegom makes her first scoring pass.
Yes, that's
through the pack.
4 points for Namur, which puts them into the lead and an apex jump, but unfortunately not in bounds for Brulegom. Brulegom is partially made of springs, I'm convinced. Dreadblocks having a tough time at the rear of the pack. That Namur defense just proving to be really strong. And Tripping the Velvet going in for some offense, trying to get Dreadblocks out, but Brulegom completes second scoring pass, 8 points for Namur. but Dreadblocks is now out and completes her initial pass.
And we have a lead change then, because with this last jam that just ended, Namur has taken the lead again. 61 for Namur, 56 for Leeds. Oh, sorry, 60. Do we have the points? Okay, 63 for Namur, I'm sure now. 56 for Leeds. Very interesting, very exciting. It's always exciting when you have so many lead changes during each jam.
We saw very tight jams for the first few jams, and now we've seen 3 very big jams that have really changed the game and opened it up. We're in a quick official timeout. So, yeah, I mean, the last 3 jams, we've seen the game completely change.
Yeah, that was very exciting to see how I'm surprised that we don't have any team timeout.
I was surprised. I kept waiting.
If I was benching, I was like, let's get together and strategize, because something's going on in here.
But I think also we've just seen this massive change in play, so they may want to give it a couple of jams to see how it's going to bottom out. Bigay's coming out as lead jammer for Namur, and it is Grief Lightning on the jam line for Leeds, stuck in the pack on turn 1. Bigay's now approaching the pack for points, but Grief Lightning is out. Both jammers at the same point on the track, but it's Bigay's who puts the turbos on and opens up just a few centimetres gap, but thinks that's not enough. I'm going to call the jam. So that's 4 points for Namur, opening that lead back out now to 12 points. Wow.
Wow, yes.
Yes. And now we have an official review.
Official review, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So yeah, that last few minutes has been something. So we were seeing very, very strong defense, quite static at times, but it was single pass by a couple of passes, you know, on both sides, with Namur having a bit of a lead. And then we saw that massive Namur jam. Then we saw that massive Leeds jam. And it's just blown this game apart.
Yes, I'm wondering where the Namur walls went, because usually that's something that's a strong suit. They have really strong walls. They're usually quite able to reform in front of the jammer, even though they get cycled, and also still use these tactics of the stretching out in the back
and it wasn't,
of the pack.
It wasn't just one time. We saw that and noted it 2 or 3 times, that they just go, you know, no, I'm going to go back. You know, I'm going to let the jammer get through. And you wonder if that's a tactic, or they're conserving energy, or you know.
I don't know, but it's been quite surprising. I think the Leeds team has really taken advantage of that with some very long and interesting jams where they managed to score a lot of points. So I'm wondering what this review is all about, actually.
So Leeds will, in the last 2 jams, they've lost the lead to Namur, so Namur taking the lead in the last 2 jams. So Leeds are going to want to come out of this stoppage, this break, and build that momentum back up. But I think that, you know, we have to remember they had a 20-point jam, so if you took that jam away, you know, that's how they managed to catch up. And so it's whether they can then build on this over the next 8 minutes, 5 seconds.
Yeah, because there's only 8 minutes left for the first half time.
Yeah, and so it's whether they can build on that in the next 8 minutes to keep in touch with Namur, whether they're going to let Namur run away with it.
I'm looking at the statistics and the flat track statistics prediction for this game. So according to the rankings, Namur was estimated, was supposed to, but we could await that Namur would take a strong lead on this game, but it's not what is happening at all.
And it's also not what happened at Paris is Burning when the 2 of them met back in June. But we're back underway. We have Bat Smash on the line against Dreadblocks. So in June, Namur won by about 80 points. And right now, I wouldn't want to predict that was the outcome. Bat Smash, though, picking up lead and coming into the pack for scoring. And we have a power jam to Namur as Dreadblocks is in the bin. So this is an opportunity for Namur to put some of that momentum and open up a lead. Especially
also because one blocker from Leeds is sitting in the penalty box. So with a reduced British wall. It's an opportunity for the Belgium jammer to take advantage, and Bad Smash is certainly trying to.
So that's third scoring pass and just brushes off that block from Grace Ventura. So Namur really capitalizing on that power jam with 3 scoring passes, but Jenga is back on the track, but it's gone back to the bin. So that is a second penalty. Yeah. And Bat Smash says, you know what, I want a power start.
Yeah, it's a good thing to give your teammates a nice advantage, being the only jammer behind the jammer line.
And so it is now 82 points for Namur, playing 56 for Leeds. 14 points in that last jam to Namur. 6.5 minutes left in this game.
Look at this wall. Look at all the blockers in front of the jammer line. You don't see that often. That they're really spreading out, taking advantage. Wow, and going backwards on Brûle la Gomme. But she's a fast one.
Yeah, that's the tactics for a power start. You don't want to give a gap. You know, you don't want to give them any space. You want to make it as difficult and as time-consuming as possible to get lead. And they eat up 17 seconds of time before Brûle la Gomme picks up lead. That's nearly half of the power jam. So that was good work from the Leeds blockers on the line. Brûle la Gomme in the pack, pushing for points. But we have got Jenga back on track.
Yeah, with an assist from the Namur pivot, but who cannot manage to make an opening for Brûle la Gomme, who gets through, even though it was tried to push her out.
So Brûle la Gomme now coming round for second scoring pass, but Jenga is out completing her initial, and Brûle la Gomme sees the danger and calls the jam. But that is 7 points for Namur in that game, and they are in that jam they are extending that lead out now, 89 points. So actually holding leads to no points for, I think, probably 4 jams in a row now.
Yes, they were not happy about that 20 points jam. Like, that ain't gonna happen again. That's clearly the message that's being sent here.
I mean, Namur in the last few minutes have been absolutely dominant in this game. So 4 minutes 48 seconds left. Bat Smash on the jam line up against Eat My Glitter. And the pack having to race to keep up with the jammers, and Bigay's out first for lead. It is Eat My Glitter who is pushing out up front, still on turn 2.
With the packs changing out, I'm like, was it still a pack? It was more than 3 meters.
But that's Namur sending a blocker to the bin for what looks like a pack penalty. But again, it's Namur seeing the danger, calling the jam, but that's good work from Leeds to hold it to just 1 scoring pass, because in the last few jams, it's been multiple scoring passes, so this is good for Leeds to come back and start saying, no, you're not going to run away with this at this stage.
Yeah, it is. Almost 40. My mathematics and English is very bad at this time of the day. Almost 40 points difference. Namur is definitely taking the momentum and not letting Leeds take any chance, any opportunities. We have, what do we have, a team timeout?
We do have a team timeout called by Leeds, so 3 minutes 49 seconds left in this half. And I think that's a good time from Leeds. So that last jam, they started to get Namur back under control. You know, only 1 scoring pass, even with a power start. So so I think that was good work. And so it's how can we build on that? How can we take that momentum away from Namur before we go into half time? That's the conversation I'd be having.
Yes, definitely. Well, they're just cheering now. So I think that the conversation was very short. Namur is still taking the advantage and still talking. And the referees are also still talking.
I think they're mainly, I believe they're discussing recipes. They do. Discussing who's got the best recipe for fudge brownies.
Fudge brownies. I don't know if something very popular in roller derby.
Oh, cake. Roller derby runs on cake, and long may it continue. Back and away, we have Bat Smash for Namur on the jam line up against Dreadblocks for Leeds.
Ooh.
And it's again that tough rear line. Leeds very happy to be right sat on that jam line. And Dreadblocks hit out and held back by Namur, and it's Bat Smash who's pushing out up front. And Bat Smash having the harder job of just having to push. Dreadblocks, though, picking up a cut penalty. So this is now another power jam to Namur. And we saw last time that Brulagon was able to put 3 scoring passes on in that power jam. So this is, you know, I think this has been a real trouble for Leeds in the last 10 minutes, is the amount of jammer penalties has given Namur a blank check to go and score.
Yes. Namur blockers are really trying to coordinate their action, their offense. It's quite successful, and Bat Smash is through for her first scoring pass, while Dreadblocks jamming for Leeds is back on the track with only 2 Namur blockers in front of her, but always very active. Look at that butt who was about to push her out, didn't succeed.
No.
But that was very, very fast.
Dreadblocks is an incredibly agile jammer, able to really use the whole track and cover that whole track to get around blockers. A real joy to watch in this game. And it is just one Namur blocker ahead for Dreadblocks to complete that scoring pass. Pushes out to play, and that's 4 points for Leeds, equaling Namur. So as Dreadblocks comes around to the pack now, both jammers on the same scoring pass. But Bat Smash says, I've had enough. I'm not going to let Dreadblocks pick up the points. It's 2 for Namur, taking them to 6 on this jam, and 4 for Leeds. Namur now on 99 points, Leeds on 60, so is still only 39 points between the two teams. 1 minute, 42 seconds left in this game. Brulagon on the jam line against Grief Lightning.
And they're off, a very tight pack just sitting in front of the jammer line, and we have Leeds taking the lead jammer status.
About half the track ahead of Brulagon, so we'll be looking for the 4 points. And is just 2 Namur blockers on the track, but Grief Lightning takes the spill, can't risk it, has to call the jam, and Namur picked up nothing. We're just looking for the jam ref on Leeds. It's 2 points for Leeds. So I think that's an important psychological victory. So we have 49 seconds in this half. So we will have another jam. Leeds on 62, Namur on 99. We have Jenga on the jam line up against
Bigaze.
Bigaze,
who's taking the momentum and trying to...
having a breather.
Yeah. Very tight tripods.
It's tripping the velvet from Leeds, providing the offense from Jenga, but it has worked. Lead jammer for Leeds, second lead jammer in a row. And again, talking about going into half time, that will give Leeds a bit of a boost.
Well, Bigaze took off her cover, but is still really blocked behind the blocker.
Yeah.
What's that? Flamboyant Potato, which is a great, great name.
And Bigaze has only just crossed the pivot line, whereas Jenga is on scoring passes now.
She is. And she's really trying to build up on this lead status, and taking advantage of the fact that her blockers are doing a very efficient job keeping the Namur jammer at the end of the pack.
That is phenomenal blocking from Leeds, but also this 2-on-1 action up front.
Yes.
So that's
6-6 and 6-6-6.
That's Los Angeles and Left for Dead. But then, you know, Bigaze is stuck, is absolutely stuck behind that wall of 3.
And her pivot has been sent to the penalty box.
So there's no star pass. There's no help out there for you, unfortunately, Bigaze.
Yeah, and Jenga is making her second scoring pass, which is very exciting, reaching out to 70 points for Leeds. And Bigaze has finally went through the pack, but she's calling it, She, the lead jammer, not big as calling it.
So
very nice action.
That was 12 points for Leeds in that jam, taking them to 74 points, just 25 points behind Namur on 99. And this is half-time. So it's been it's been a roller coaster ride. It's been really sort of at the start, you know, when you're sort of inching up the roller coaster before it goes off, you're like sort of bit of a grind, and then it's been up and down.
Yeah, and the fact that the Leeds on the last jam have been able to score and be the only one able to score 12 points, it shows that the 20 jam before wasn't a fluke. It wasn't an accident. It was really good working, good team coordination, and very good jamming and also blocking. That's because the Namur jammer was behind the Leeds blocker. She couldn't get through. It allowed really the Leeds to take the lead.
Yes. And we will have more of this in another 30 minutes. Don't go anywhere. We will be back in just over 13 minutes. I've been Dork Mistress.
And I'm Toxic Lady. See you in a bit.
And welcome back to Game 4, second half of this thriller at Skate Around 3 in Namur, Belgium, hosted by the amazing Namur Roller Girls. It is Namur up against Leeds. It is 99 points to Leeds, to Namur, 74 points to Leeds. And we had lead changes, we had 20-point jumps.
We had emotions.
We had apex jumps, we had toe stops for days. Absolute thriller of a first half, and cannot wait to see what's going to come. So Leeds going into the halftime, winning the last two jams, and a big jam right at the end to close down that gap. But Namur equally capable of really big jams.
I checked in the penalty box, and earlier, actually during this jam 6, it was 9 penalties that were whistled just during one jam. It was going crazy. The penalty box timer was doing. Namur was like, what's going on? Why is everybody queuing to come in this part of the penalty box? And actually,
they must have had cookies.
I hope. And actually, one of the Namur girls is at 5 penalties. That's the only one who's at a bit of a risk. Everybody else is like 4 and under, usually 1 or 2 or 3.
And you know, that will be fine for now. We'll see how that plays towards the end of this game. So the period whistle has gone. The teams are assembling on track on the jam line. It's been a long day.
it is,
but it's been fantastic. It is Jenga on the jam line up against Brulagom.
And they're off. Everybody is being very tight. Oh, this tripod, this British tripod, just putting and leaving Brulagom behind, while Jenga is out, but she's made a cutting and she's up to the penalty box, leaving Brulagom only jammer on the track. Everybody's in the penalty box. 2 blockers from Namur.
But Namur, in that time, passed the star. So it is now Tinker who is the jammer. But that means that there is no lead jammer in this jam. So this goes for 2 full minutes.
Which I don't know if it's a great way to start the second halftime of a last game of the whole tournament.
And I was about to say that actually, So Leeds had been at the start of each half been usually picking up lead and winning a couple of jams, but we have a jammer switcheroo, so it is Tinker who is now in the penalty box, and it is Jenga who's back on track. But yeah, the Leeds, it's Quicken Blocker Glory, working with Flamboyant Potato and Tripling the Velvet, have been phenomenal in that defense at the rear. But that was great work from Jenga to literally jump back on track to avoid being recycled, completing her scoring pass. Tinker now out of the box and back on track. And that was a long drawback by Flamboyant Potato, trying to eat up the time, giving Jenga the chance to score some points.
Yeah, with only 2 Namur blockers, it's the opportunity for Jenga to make a scoring pass. Sorry. Very interesting. Only 15 seconds to go on this very interesting jam.
And it's again Flamboyant Potato with a massive drawback on Tinker to eat up the time. And that's got Jenga through, but it has also emptied the box for Namur just as Tripping the Velvet goes in for Leeds.
And Namur manages to have a little jump and to score some more points. So both teams have scored. I'm looking at the jam ref to be sure about the points for each of them. Is it through?
Yes, so that is 8 points for Leeds in that jam and 4 for Namur, which means Leeds win that jam even with losing the lead jammer status. So closing that gap down little bit by little bit. On the jam line, we now have Grief Lightning for Leeds up against
Big A's, I think, a Bat Smash. I can't see her number.
No. It's not very helpful for us poor announcers. And that is a penalty for the Namur jammer, who is Bat Smash.
Yes, and she's sent to the penalty box for a
high block.
High block.
Head block.
Blocking to the head, the high block.
Head block, sorry. I've been around too long. So Bat Smash sitting in the penalty box. But that is great defense from Namur, ignoring the Leeds trying to split them up and using zone blocking to make sure that they can hold back Grief Lightning.
Did Bat Smash took the lead before she went to the penalty box, or the lead hasn't been taken yet? I think. What do you reckon?
I don't know. I must admit I've been a bit hypnotised by the skating. Really shouldn't admit that. I should be on it, but. Yes, I think that, well, there will definitely not be a Leeds because there's now been a star pass by Leeds, so nobody is eligible for Leeds, and it is now Tipping the Velvet who is jamming for Leeds, just as Bat Smash gets through that confusion, and I think that's the best way to describe the pack.
It's a big mess. I can't, yeah, okay, there's a tripod forming for Leeds, but the Namur blockers are just going around, being able to block quite efficiently usually, and now the two jammers are following one another, and nobody has the leads.
So this will be another 13 seconds in this jam. So Bat Smash pushing up front, but Tipping the Velvet finds a gap on the outside, completes the scoring pass, but won't have time for another before the end of that jam.
Equal points, I think. No,
Namur have picked up some more in that last pass. So 7 points for Namur, taking them to 110, 86 for Leeds. So that is still only a 24-point game.
Which is nothing.
And we're 5 minutes gone in this half. We promised you roller coasters, and I think this game is already delivering. So on the jam line, we have B-Gaze up against Dreadblocks.
And is it the third jam? No, it can't be. Is it only the third jam?
It is only because we've had 2 2-minute jams.
It seems. Yeah, it seems very, very long, and lots have happened, and Bat Smash has taken the lead for Namur, but Dreadblocks is following quite closely.
Yeah, so Dreadblocks about half a lap behind, so Leeds happy to take the front of the pack, but haven't sped it up considerably. Namur able to call that jam and deny Leeds any points, and they pick up 2
points. Yes, I think that considering what happened during the first half time, nobody is willing to take any risks.
Yes,
it's not possible. It's not doable. It's not acceptable. If you have the lead, if you're making points, do not let the other team score any.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So we have Brulagum and Jenga on the jam line, and it's Brulagum pushing through the outside line, almost through, just 2 Leeds blockers ahead, but we've seen how dangerous Quicken blocker Glory can be, and it's Grace Ventura being the brace. Oh, and that was a huge hit from number 382, Rust in Pieces. And that did let Brulagum through. That was a cracking piece of offense.
It was. It really, really was.
Jenga still stuck behind, so passes the star, and it is number 26, Kerosene, who is now jamming for Leeds.
I think that's the first time that we've seen her in that position, and that's over already.
But that's what you're trying to do when you pass the star. When you pass the star, you're trying to force the call off.
Yeah.
And so Kerosene very much achieving that. Kerosene was pivot a lot in the previous game.
Yes.
So is fully warmed up for her jamming responsibilities. But neither team picking up points in that jam. So it's 112 points for Namur, playing 86 for Leeds. 22 minutes, 42 seconds left in this game. It's Grief Lightning up against Bat Smash. And it's, again, this tight pack at the back. You know, pushing the jammers back behind the jam line.
Yeah, I love when they're going backwards. And the Bat Smash is through the pike and taking the lead for Namur, while a Grief Lightning is still in the middle of the pack. Where are all the walls? There are not any walls.
But Namur are using, are starting to see much more zone blocking going on, which is why you're not seeing the Namur blockers next to each other, but they are still being very effective.
Yes, because even if they're not touching one another, they are still connected, they still communicate very efficiently. That's very true.
Yes, so, you know, it's not the traditional static 3-wall that we're used to, but, you know, this is tactics we're seeing, you know, at all levels of roller derby now. So that was 2 points for Namur in that jam. So that takes them to 115. And we have Dreadblocks on the jam line up against B-Gaze. And we have a pivot line start.
Yes, we haven't seen that a lot, and they were staying there. They didn't didn't go backwards very fast, which is what all usually happens.
Yeah,
very interesting.
It's B-Gaze pushing out up front
with a forearm being whistled to a Namur blocker.
And it's Namur with 2 blockers in the box, which is really holding back B-Gaze, and let Dreadblocks pick up lead jammer for Leeds. And just look at the physicality going on in this pack.
Yeah, they're really pushing to one another. You cannot get through a centimeter of the pack without being pushed, hit, or in front of someone. It's just impossible.
Yeah. So it's Poly Killer, it's acting as that brace in that Leeds wall. The Leeds, when they can form that tripod, they're just absolutely formidable. And so Namur passed the star to Tinker and forces the call off. But that is 4 crucial points for Leeds, taking them to 90 points. Still 25-point game, 20 minutes left to go.
It's very good, it's very good. I'm very happy to see so many actions and
that's, what's going on? That's the timeout called by Leeds.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, yeah, as you can see, well, sorry, as we were talking about, it's just been a phenomenally exciting game to watch. Some incredibly strong tripods when they can be formed, but Namur starting to be more flexible with their blocking, and that's starting to pay off as well. It's just all exciting.
It's very exciting. I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen after this team timeout. Will we have the opportunity to see a change of strategy? Will they go on like they did before? It's also interesting to see that everybody had some penalties. There's only one Namur player who is at risk, but it's a bit frustrating not being able to have a look right now at the board, because it can change things.
Yeah, absolutely, and we still have 20 minutes, and that's a long time if you're sat on 5 or 6 penalties. So that's the end of the timeout whistle, so we're going to get underway shortly. And as we say, this is the last game of today, but it's not the last game of the tournament. So we will be back tomorrow bright and early. First game is at 11 o'clock.
How outrageously early.
Central European time. That is 10 a.m. in the UK. So if you are following Leeds...
I forgot that you have
we're an hour behind.
And we have Jenga and Brulagom jamming respectively for Leeds and for Namur, with Jenga being able to jump her way out of the pack before even the pivot line.
Oh, and that was That was some fun, sorry.
Yeah, that was fun. So we have a star pass successfully done from Namur with the number 382, rest in pieces, grabbing the cover from Brulagom, and I haven't
forcing that call off.
Yeah, forcing that call off. I haven't seen any points. Were there points? We are still referees are still debating. It was very interesting, very tight, very fast.
There were points, and there were 2 of them for Leeds. So Leeds are they're stopping Namur from running away. They are able to claw back 2 points here, 4 points there. So that gap is staying. It's still at 23 points.
And it's nothing. It's still nothing.
When you think that we were seeing 20-point jams, but that's bat smash in the penalty box. So it is now a power jam to Leeds and Grief Lightning.
Oh. Which is an opportunity that the British women certainly want to take advantage of.
Yeah. And that was a big whip for Grief Lightning, trying to break down this wall of Namur,
who don't want to let her go, clearly. But we have misdirection. Penalty being whistled to the number 13, O'Gara.
But it's just one Namur blocker up ahead. Oh, and it's a cut penalty for Grief Lightning. So, no, it was not a cut penalty. It is lead jammer for Grief Lightning.
Well,
but that took a minute.
Yeah, that took a few seconds, and it's clearly something that Bat Smash wanted to take advantage of, because while they were still debating, she managed, the Namur jammer managed to get out of the pack.
Yes. That was great work from Namur, sort of making Leeds have to call that off after they'd finally got it. But both jammers took a minute to get out of the pack. So 4 points for Leeds in that last jam. So 96 points now.
No points.
No points, which would go with the lead jammer. I just never question the refs or the scoreboard. So 92 points, still playing 115. And we have, that's B-Gaze jamming for Namur. And I believe that's Eat My Glitter.
It is.
Eat My Glitter, who's half the track ahead of B-Gaze. Namur speeding up the pack.
Yes, trying to prevent Eat My Glitter to score any points. And she's watching the Namur jammer, but I think she scored at least 1 point.
1 point.
I do agree with the ref. The second blocker from Namur was actually going backwards after the whistle.
Yeah, good jam reffing. No, hang on, that is 4 points on the scoreboard for Leeds.
I don't get it. Is everybody tired? I think maybe the scorekeepers are tired as well.
I think we're having a quick official timeout to discuss that. So while we're in that timeout, quick chance to talk about tomorrow's games. So the first game tomorrow is going to be Leeds versus the Royal Swedish Army, I believe.
Yes. Or Royal Army.
The Royal Army. Yes, the Royal Army is the A team. The Roller Derby League is the Royal Swedish Army. And then the second game is at 1:15 Central European time, which is going to be Namur versus Nantes. So that's going to be it's going to be a lot on the line for that game, a lot of interest. And then finally we have an interesting game from teams not in the tournament this weekend, but showcasing some amazing Belgian roller derby. Les Parpang versus Beastie Roller Derby.
Yes, I think so. Because I was talking with some Namur girls, and she was playing tomorrow. So I don't know if she's playing under the B Namur or someone else. So it is interesting.
But we'll bring you all that information. So another day of fascinating roller derby, but this is a tournament. It's a round robin tournament, so it's all going to be on the number of wins and then the points differentials, and it still could go either way, so I don't want to call this. But coming into this game, Namur had a win over the Royal Army this morning. Leeds lost to Nantes, so it's 1-0. So you know, if Namur win, they'll go into tomorrow with 2 wins out of a possible 3. And Leeds could equally go in with 1 win out of 2.
So I'm looking at the points to see what happens, but this is Okay.
So we are underway again, so 96 points to Leeds. Namur 115, 19 points difference. Jenga on the jam line, and it is... That's a new jammer for Namur. It's Rust in Pieces.
Yes, who's been doing pivots.
Yeah, he's been doing pivot duties. And
mainly.
Jenga out for Leeds. For Leeds.
Lead for Leeds. Or Leeds for Leeds. Leeds as lead. Yeah, maybe there's a little change of strategy on the Namur side. Maybe trying to switch up their jammers a little.
Yeah.
And trying, ooh, everybody's on the ground. Everybody's okay? Okay. It's always very scary when you see a few players that suddenly crash on the ground. And
because we've got Brulagon there as the pivot for Namur.
yeah.
Yeah.
But she's also a very good pivot.
Yeah. So it's interesting, as you say, Namur changing up their jammer lineup, but Jenga doing sterling work. That's 4 points for Leeds, takes them to 100, just 15 points behind Namur. And now through for another scoring pass, whereas Rust in Pieces is still on her initial. Jenga recycled by Left for Dead all the way back to the apex.
And we can see that Brulagom is really on a mission as an offense, trying to give Rust in Pieces really opportunity, but that's not happening right now.
So Jenga using Flamboyant Potato as a battering ram, opens up a hole and completes for 4 points. So that is now just 11 points behind Namur. But Rust in Pieces is out and completing her initial pass. And Leeds don't risk it. They call the jam.
And there was only 7 seconds left anyway, so it was a very long jam, very beautiful to see. Still very exciting with 8 points being scored by Leeds right now. And also for Namur, we have the ref coming back. And we have Namur still leading 118 to 107 for Leeds, 12 points difference. Who would have expected that this morning?
None of us. And you know, Leeds really bringing a lot of heart to this game. But bringing lead, it is bat smash for Namur. And we have dread blocks for Leeds out of the pack, completing her initials. So bat smash pushing through, trying to get those 4 points, but Dreadlocks is also now scoring, and that's tripping the Velvet, trying to hold back Bat Smash, but Bat Smash is through for the full 4. Dreadblocks still
trying to get
through. So good tactics by Bat Smash to play this long, to try to get the other, until it is a penalty.
Yeah, and she can't believe it. She's still on the track and be sure, but she is set to the penalty box for a back block.
Yeah, that's the risk. If you play the jam long and you pick up a penalty, you give it on a plate to the other team. With Dreadblocks now trying to maximise that 30 seconds, completes for 4 points, so equaling Namur's score in this jam. Great opportunity for Leeds to narrow this gap down.
Oh oui, c'est vraiment le moment pour Leeds, lorsque Bassmash a été envoyé dans la penalty box, d'essayer de prendre avantage sur le fait d'être en situation de power jam. À ce stade-ci du jeu, les joueurs sont fatigués, mais les stratégies sont un petit peu développées, ont été changées. Very, very backwards situation sliding for everybody.
That was one of the biggest rollbacks I think we've ever seen. But both jammers are now back on track and in the pack, and it's Dreadblocks at the back, it's Bat Smash up front,
and 3 seconds, and so many penalties that are being whistled, cuttings.
Yeah,
so I don't know if it's the same cutting that's being whistled, or two cuttings being whistled at for two different players.
No, it was 1 cut penalty to Dreadblocks. So after all of that about Namur giving away the power jam, Leeds have now done the same, and it will be a power start to Namur. But in that jam, Namur 7 points, Leeds 8, 11 points again in 12 points. There's been a correction.
Yes.
So it is now 127 points playing 115.
And the team timeout has been asked by Namur, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm glad because I got a chance to catch my breath.
Yeah, they called back on the bench to be briefed. I think it's highly recommended.
Yes.
That was very interesting, very beautiful to see. I'm really excited. I can't believe that's almost the end of the game. I'm like, wow, it's
No, we've got another 11 minutes and 51 seconds.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
can
yeah.
feel like a lifetime.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm really glad we have because this has been a phenomenally exciting game to watch. And just
Yes, it has.
And we've just seen such incredible blocking and agility, and you know, it's just. Yeah, I want to go back and watch this game again.
Yeah, we can, and listen to ourselves.
So, 127 points to Namur, 115 points to Leeds, 11 minutes, 51 seconds left in this game, which will decide who goes into tomorrow in the lead.
And also, it is a WFTDA tournament, right?
So it's a sanctioned tournament, so all these games count for WFTDA rankings.
So the stakes are high for all the teams, and they know it. The pressure is definitely on. And we have Big A's jamming against Dreadblocks, respectively for Namur and for Leeds. After 15 seconds, we still don't have a lead, but we do now, with Big A's getting out first of the pack with the Leeds jammer who was sitting in the penalty box. I didn't even see. There was so many actions on track.
We were starting with a power start.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember that.
Which is why you didn't see it, because Dreadblocks didn't go there.
Yeah.
But it was also a direction play for Lana Del Slay, but now both jammers back on the track. And it's pushing up front for B-Gaze against that tripod of doom from Leeds. And there really is no other phrase. It's Kay Hizzle being the brace. And we've just, I mean, it's blocker goals watching the Leeds blockers. That defense is just, it's impenetrable. It's actually, they're cemented together into a real wall.
Yes, it's amazing how able they are to move, because Namur is a bunch of quite fast and agile jammers, but they can't even move their way around the Leeds walls. I'm very tired and I can't speak English anymore.
That's okay. If you want to carry on in French, that is fine by me. Yeah. So that was a multiplayer block assessed to Kerosene for Leeds, and that has broken up that tripod a little, but Leeds were able to reform and have pushed it out, but that's a cut trap penalty for Lana Del Slay. So we are seeing the penalties pick up in these last few minutes as everyone's getting tired.
Yes, on a 3 bloqueuses de Namur qui sont dans la penalty box, un petit va-et-vient. Effectivement, hein, on sent bien que les enjeux pèsent lourd pour ce match, pour ce tournoi qui est sanctionné par la WFTA. Et sur cette dernière jam, on a bien vu beaucoup de pénalités. Il est important pour les joueuses de ne rien lâcher. On est encore à une différence de points qui est assez faible. 131 points pour Namur, 115 pour Leeds. C'est très peu. C'est vraiment un gros enjeu. Et alors, on a un tout petit... We have a very small pack.
Yes, a mini pack.
A mini pack.
A petit pack.
A petit pack. Oh, a very très petit pack. With only 2 blockers from each team on the track. And Brûle la Gomme and Eat My Glitter. With Eat My Glitter taking advantage of it and getting the lead jammer.
And that's not what I would have expected from Brûle la Gomme, but Brûle la Gomme is now out and completing her initial pass. But Eat My Glitter has scored points, but there is a queue of people in an active penalty box, and it's paying the price. Brûle la Gomme now able to complete a scoring pass in no time at all. Eat My Glitter now has 3 Namur blockers.
Why don't she go? Okay, yes, she calls. And Brûle la Gomme has managed to pass anyway.
Yeah. Yes, so...
I just want to yell at them, at all of them. Can't you see she's coming?
Yeah, unfortunately, you're not the bench coach.
No, thank God I'm not the bench coach. Thank God I'm not the bench
But
coach.
it is Namur who win that jam. It's now 137 points to Namur, 118 to Leeds. 19 points between the two teams, 8 minutes and 7 seconds left in this game. Jenga on the jam line against Bat Smash.
And Bat Smash takes the lead quite early after the pivot line. Namur a vraiment décidé de ne pas se laisser faire avec des murs affaiblis du côté des British, seulement 2 bloqueuses et maintenant l'équipe totale. Bat Smash va avoir un petit peu plus de difficultés avec davantage de bloqueuses, tandis que le mur namurois est également affecté avec 2 bloqueuses namuroises. 2 Namur blockers are sitting in a penalty box. It's really cute to get in a penalty box. I wish I could see how many penalties each blocker and each player have. And I'm guessing they're like, what the hell? We're going to block anyway.
And that is Quick and Blocker Glory in the penalty box for Leeds. Very quickly followed by Jenga. So we now have the power jam for Namur and Bat Smash. And we have more penalties going on, and that has enabled Bat Smash to get out, and she calls the jam. I think Bat Smash had enough.
I'm wondering if we smash the record of the jam 6 with 9 penalties, because I've seen many players going back and forth this penalty box. We have at the moment 3 British players sitting in there, nobody's turning. Nope. The jammer and 2 blockers. Yes, the pivot is still on the track.
So we're starting with a power start for Namur, and it is B Gaze who has just 2 Leeds blockers ahead of her, but it's Flamboyant Potato with that drawback. But Flamboyant Potato was queuing for the box.
But it's her action was efficient. For all the blockers from Namur couldn't prevent her from putting their jammer out.
Oh, but look at the speed of number 10, Eat My Glitter. You can see why Eat My Glitter is a jammer, because it was able to keep up with B Gaze, trying to hold it back through the pack, but not successful.
It was amazing to see. You're right, I do want to watch this game back really quickly.
Jenga now out of the box and on track in the pack. B Gaze struggling to get through, but that is a cut penalty for Jenga.
It's too many emotions. It's too many emotions, and it's really definitely too many penalties for everybody.
Yeah, I think both teams looking back at this game, you know, the scoreline would be very different if they had been able to control those penalties. Either Namur would have been able to extend that lead, or Leeds would have been able to catch up quicker. So it's it is B Gaze who is lead and completed 1 scoring pass, but has had enough. And completed the second, so that's 8 points for Namur, taking them to 149. Leeds now on 118. So
everybody's really fighting on the track. I think each point is really being paid with a lot of sweats and a lot of hits and a lot of penalties.
So that's 31 points between the two teams. 4 minutes, 51 seconds left in this game, and we're having a quick official timeout, just making sure everything is right and in place. Track repair has been called for. So while they're doing that, this game is just like, oh my.
Yes, it's a roller coaster of emotion. It's also very beautiful to see, and I'm always happy when you have lots of diverse bodies on the track. So I really admire Flamboyant Potato, who doesn't give any kind of advantage to anyone, and she just pushes the Namur jammer out of her way like they weigh nothing, and I think it's beautiful and it's amazing to see. I'm very happy with this.
I think we've seen some amazing skill during this game from both teams, from blockers and jammers. But, you know, and I think that both teams looking at this will have a lot to take away that they'll be very happy about, but also things they can work on.
Yes, it definitely has.
And I think there's sometimes been a bit of a lack of control from both teams in the pack. We've seen very messy, scrappy packs and a large number of penalties. But it's just been so much fun to watch. And we're underway again. It's Brulagom on the jam line for Namur. It's Jenga for Leeds.
Going back on the track. And she took off her cover, and there's a star pass, successful star pass to Her pivot, I can't see her number.
But Brulagom just skates on the outside, uncontested, picks up 4 points like it's no problem.
It's Kerosene, the pivot from Leeds, who took the cover, but she's recycled back at the end of the pack, while the Namur pivot is set to the penalty box, and while Brulagom is struggling behind a very strong tripod from Britain.
It's Kay Hizzle and Grace Ventura holding back Brulagom. Jenga, though, on her way to the penalty box for a blocker penalty, because it is still Kerosene as the jammer for Leeds. Both jammers just stuck behind walls of three.
We can see their faces, and they're really pushing through and getting out of their last energy. Be careful of the pack. Yes.
Oh, that looked like Brulagom was going to stay in, but just one toe stop over, and that recycled back the corner. Kerosene now through to Namur up front, because we have a bridge in place, and it's one Namur blocker, but again, you know, left for dead. Didn't chase Kerosene down there and let her go, but Brulagom, lead jammer, I've had enough. I'm not going to let Leeds score points. 8 points for Namur. The first half of that jam, Brulagom was just doing laps.
Yeah.
You know, but then both defenses locked down and nothing moved.
Yeah. Yeah, you can really see how the tripod pushed her each time on the outside or in the inside, pushed her out of the track and didn't give her any opportunities to get back inside.
So we have Leeds calling a timeout. So it's 2 minutes 41 left on the clock. It is 157 points to Namur, 118 points to Leeds. But yeah, as you were saying, just that ability to push Brulagom out, once they'd captured Brulagom and been able to form that tripod. I think that's the story for Leeds. If they're in that three wall, they are formidable. But if you break that up, there's been times in this game where Leeds have been able to reform, but there's also been times when they can't.
Yeah, and that's maybe one of the answers of how the score that we can see now is not at all what we expected. Yeah. The Namur offense, the Namur jammers, once they are blocked inside these walls, it's very difficult to get through.
Yeah, yeah. So in the WFTDA rankings as it stands, Namur are the highest ever rank of 157, or they're currently ranked 29th in Europe, and Leeds are currently ranked 195 in the WFTDA, or 34 in Europe, so they're not very far apart. And I think we're seeing that, and this is a much closer scoreline than their game back in June when Namur won by 80 points. So you can see the Leeds have definitely thought about that game and have
they learned some lessons, valuable lessons, and they are applying the results right now.
And we're back underway. Bat Smash on the line for Namur. Grief Lightning jamming for Leeds, and it's Bat Smash out first. Oh no, it's Bat Smash with a head block penalty.
Sent to the penalty box with only Grief Lightning as a jammer on the pack and the track, and she is through, but she has it in status. There was a little referee talk. Is the lead closed or not? The lead wasn't closed. Leeds has the lead, and Leeds certainly we take advantage of it.
So the thing here for Leeds is how many points can they put on the board. So we have 1 minute 50, so they're unlikely to be able to close down the gap entirely to Namur. However, in the tournament terms, Leeds lost to Nantes by it was 173 to 80, so there was almost 100 points difference. If there is a much smaller points differential, that is going to make it really interesting on this differential. It's going to make it really interesting for tomorrow's games to decide who wins the skate around 3, but also going to be really positive for Leeds' WFTDA ranking.
Wow, we have Mike Glitter, who started in a power start thanks to the previous call of the lead jammer of the Leeds team.
Eat My Glitter has been highly effective in this when being used to jam, picking up lead frequently. And I think, you know, again, a very physical blocker, able to push through. And just 2 Namur blockers up front now, 1, but there's been a star pass. Tinker now the jammer for Namur and forces that call off by Oh My Glitter. So with 40 seconds on the period clock, there is still going to be one more jam, but Leeds are doing everything they can to close down that gap.
Yeah, they are. They really, really are.
So we're having an official review called by Leeds. So we're at 122 points to Leeds, 157 to Namur. So
30 seconds left on the clock.
But there will definitely be another jam because of the official review. So we'll have the official review and then there will be another jam. So as we were saying in the tournament, it's really interesting. So if Namur win this game, they will go into the tomorrow with 2 wins, as will Nantes. But Namur have a smaller points differential against Leeds, so this will put Nantes in overnight lead, and this will put Namur in 2nd place. Oh, it's all a bit technical.
I didn't follow any of your math, sorry. I'm really too tired.
So that's okay. But, you know, Leeds are absolutely, you know, will be thrilled with this because they lost by 80 points 6 months ago, and it is unlikely to be 80 points at this point. So, you know, if they're not able to close that gap down, they have done a good thing for their rankings, and they have definitely learned from that experience in Paris. We're underway again. We have Brulagom on the jam line up against
Eat My Glitter.
Eat My Glitter from Leeds.
With full crew, everybody's back from the penalty box. We have.
Oh, don't jinx it.
Sorry.
And it's Brulagom on the outside. Lead jammer for Namur. And it is
a forearm being whistled to a Namur blocker, while Eat My Glitter is still pushing through the Namur walls, and Brulagom is making her first scoring pass under the cheering of the crowd. The crowd has been quite silent today, but this is a very exciting game. This is the last one of the day. This is their home team.
Yes. And we have seen a lot of excitement justifiably through this game. So Brulagom now in the pack for 2nd scoring pass up against that wall of that tripod of Leeds doom. And it's just Flamboyant Potato up the front, being the brace, and we have a star pass. It is now tipping the velvet for Leeds, who forces that call off and the end of that game. But it is 8 points for Namur in that last jam. So the unofficial score is 165 points to Namur, 122 to Leeds. That game had everything.
Yes, it definitely had a roller coaster, really interesting stuff. I'm very curious if we break the record of 9 penalties of a jam during the jam in the second halftime.
And that's the final whistle, so that is, we're still waiting for the official score to come up. But yes, this has been, and that has been confirmed as the final score. So, Namur taking the win in this game means they go into tomorrow 2 wins, no losses. Leeds go into tomorrow with 2 losses. But their first game is at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, Central European time, 10 o'clock in the UK, where they're going to be taking on the Royal Army, Royal Swedish Roller Derby, here at 11 o'clock tomorrow. So make sure you're here nice and early. I've been Dork Mistress.
And I've been Toxic Lady. It has been really, really nice, really exciting games. I can't wait to be tomorrow and full of energy again and being able to talk about Derby again.